Good evening. Welcome to our January 26th, 2026 regular school board meeting. Could we have roll call, please?
Tim Hunter.
Present.
Greg Nelly.
Here.
Rachel McWhirter.
Present.
Craig McClure.
Present.
And Kira Taylor.
Present.
Okay. Would you all please rise? Have our student representative lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. So, would anyone like to make a motion to approve our agenda or any changes to the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, call the question, please.
Tim Hunter.
Aye.
Craig Nelly.
Aye.
Rachel McWhirter.
Aye.
Craig McClure.
Aye.
Kira Taylor. Aye.
All right. We have some people to recognize. We had our mid-year graduation. We had Madison Davies, Manny Fry, Zoe Gilstrap, Evan Goff, Brooke Jarber, and Alexis Lyons that graduated, and we want to recognize them because will they have an opportunity to walk this spring as well?
Absolutely,
Yes.
and I'm assuming most of them will be coming back to do that, but just a congratulations to them, and they're off doing great things this next semester, and to make sure we stopped and paused to recognize them.
Good deal. And then I wanted to recognize our science fair people. How many have we got going on to regionals?
I'm not sure.
Oh, it's a lot.
I thought it was like 14 or 16 or 18, something in that range. I did see a mention of it. I don't remember the number.
Yeah, I don't remember the number. It's a nice long list.
But it's a fair list, and I'm really proud of our science fair kids. And January.
Well, I would like to recognize that January is School Board Recognition Month. So just saying a huge thank you to not only all of you, our student school board member first, but Rachel, Craig, Tim, Kira, and Craig. I know that this is a lot of time, effort, energy that you put into this work for our school district, and we recognize that hard work that you do. It's not an easy volunteer task to take on, and it's really important to everything that we do here as a public school. So thank you.
All right. Do we have any public participation? I'm not really seeing any.
We do not.
All right, then we'll keep moving on for reports to the board. Our student voice.
So as mentioned in the last meeting, we have received a lot of responses from the survey that we sent out to the kids. And right now, we're kind of just meeting and trying to figure out what are the next steps with all that information, and if we want to either just present it to the board as is, or present it once again to the kids and see like what ideas they like the most. And other than that, I think that's about it.
Thank you. Thanks, Red.
Okay, that's it? You have any questions for us at this point in time? Anything that we need to give you to take back to the students?
Not really, no.
Okay. All right. Well, there we go. District Accountability Committee?
Nope, I just want to announce that the next meeting is Tuesday. Is it a Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, February 17th at 5:30 p.m. The topic that we're discussing is wellness, focused on student wellness and behavior, and we'll have our team of leaders and teachers that are working leaders, deans, and teachers that are working really closely with that to give a report, and led by Molly and our district social worker. And we just encourage any parent or community member that wants to come and attend. It's a really interactive session, an opportunity to hear some good information, but we leave a lot of room for discussion and questions, and where we get to hear kind of what the community is hoping that we do. We have dinner and childcare provided.
Nice. That's a big help.
Mm-hmm.
Great, and stuff will go to the DAC, then they will come back to our board meeting, and it will go on in that kind of cycle. So, legislative. Kara?
Yeah, so I am just getting onboarded with the legislative committee. And I guess news that they had for this year is they used to have a separate federal or national group, but now they've combined them into one, so we're kind of discussing things from the state and the federal level in LRAC. So it's just some highlights or updates from the federal level is that there are plans for a nationwide rollout of an AI Smart certification for K through 12 education leaders for school boards and superintendents. And that's to train us on AI's impact on education and how it applies to policy and governance. So something to keep an eye on in the pipeline, should be interesting. As far as federal education funding goes, things are still up in the air. There's still conversations about moving some departments to other agencies like Department of Labor. It's likely it will be similar to prior years at the federal level, but obviously that hasn't been decided yet. The Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act of 2025 was just signed into law, so that reverses Obama-era policies about what kind of milk can be served to children through the National School Lunch Program, making whole milk, bringing whole milk back to the table. And then there was a federal judge ordering the Department of Health and Human Services not to withhold $10 billion worth of child care and family assistance grants to 5 states for the next 2 weeks. So that's just, which includes Colorado, and that's just kind of putting a pause on that as the lawsuit continues around that. And then on the state level, LRAC is tracking 22 education-related bills. I'm not gonna go through every single one of them, but just some highlights. There's a bill, HB 261050, about individualized readiness plans for school, making them optional for students who receive proficient scores on school readiness assessments and a kindergarten reading assessment. So just taking some work off teachers. There's some restructuring of early childhood councils and kind of the roles that they play. There's a kind of, I guess, a formalizing of housing developments on school property. That's HB 261001, called Housing Developments and Qualifying Projects, allowing residential development to be constructed on a qualifying property that does not contain an exempt parcel subject to administrative approval. And school districts are one of the listed property owners under that bill. And then the other big thing that LRAC is discussing is just the specific ownership tax, which is like a vehicle tax, and how that would affect the School Finance Act and how it would affect just education funding in general. Because at the state level, they're just kind of searching for ways to figure out the state budget deficit, essentially. And while that could take some budgetary, it could help to balance the state budget potentially, it can make things a lot more challenging at the district level in terms of how much budget we have available and what kind of budgeting flexibility we have in our communities. So that's all I've got on that. If anybody has questions about that last bit too, I have a lot more information. But
Anybody have anything with that? Okay, I need to read the 261001 on our housing, see where that might lead us in the future.
yeah, it sounded like I was talking to Craig about it. It sounded like it was just putting some structure around that possibility, essentially, of residential development. So just kind of what sort of regulations you need, what sort of zoning requirements there might be, and those kinds of things.
Okay. All right. No other questions? Then we'll keep moving on. CASB report. There's no real CASB.
No, other than,
We looked to see our updated policies.
yep, I didn't see any. We'll be bringing all of that to our board retreat, and we'll have one of the CASB consultants, leadership consultants, Monica Johnson, joining us at our board retreat on March 8th. So.
All right. We did talk in our work session about board linkage, and next work session on February 9th, we will have the town council here at our work session to discuss our mutual issues with the town and the school. And then we've broken off into several groups that are going to address several of our other Chamber of Commerce, several of our other nonprofit boards, and just to discuss what's going on with the school. So that is our linkage, and we're gonna just keep moving on with that, and if any of the public has any questions about that, feel free to contact any of our board members or the superintendent, and we will try and explain things as best we can. BOCES.
BOCES. All right.
Always fun.
Always fun. The big one is the Montezuma Cortez School District reorganization we're hoping to hear sometime this week. We haven't heard yet. They have filed their appeal. The appeal goes directly to Commissioner Cordova. She is the only one who makes that decision. She has until the end of the month. So the 31st is on Saturday, so we were hoping to hear sometime this week. More than likely it'll be Monday. And I think we'll probably get the email about the same time. So we'll let everybody know kind of what's happening with that. As far as our board goes, we have 4 of us that are continuing and we have 4 new board members. So quite a bit of turnover for that. And the other big part in the reorganization is it's kind of all in finance. We're hoping to do our audit next month. We've been a little bit behind on that, so February is the absolute last that we can do it, so we're really hoping it gets done. They're looking at changing up the e-school billing, and this can be more of a Chrissy thing. They're also looking to hope to bill 50% of that, of the student count, in October when they kind of know the student count, and then to true it up in February instead of waiting until after February to get all of the account and then bill for that.
We actually got our bill a couple days ago for them, for our 2 students anyway.
Right.
So they did get that over.
Yeah, so that's one thing that Sky's looking at, is to get half of it
That
in
makes
October,
sense.
November, and then the rest of it. So that's, doesn't affect us much, but there is a little bit there. And then we're really trying to work on some financial templates to match the BOCES finances to what our school district finances look like. Right now, it's more of a P&L of a business and not a school district. So we're trying to get those to look a little bit better. I think that will also help with his audit. So yeah, so it'll be all financials next month. But I'll send you guys all a digital copy of the audit so you can look at that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just add from the BOCES side of things, for me, I just had a full day and a half retreat with all of the BOCES superintendents, so Pagosa, Silverton, Ignacio, Bayfield, Durango is a part of our BOCES Superintendent Council, even though they're not a part of our special education unit. So Karen was there, Dolores, Duck Creek, and Montezuma Cortez. So it serves as a point for being on the same page as a region and discussing issues relevant to our districts and also our connection to things happening at the state level, as well as how we are supporting our students in special education programs, because we share resources and staffing and all of that. So it's very productive, lots of things. One thing that our team is looking at is just as one of our work session items this year is looking at the model for district fees and how that's determined by district, what we pay into the BOCES to support our special education and all BOCES services. And so they've been operating on a certain model for a while, but we're just digging into, there's different models for how those come out. So districts are looking at it equitably and also supporting the services of our regional districts, so that was what we were looking at. So that's just kind of what's happening from that level with BOCES.
All right, any other questions by anybody for Rachel? All right, we're moving along here. I like it. Strategic plan, objective report. We don't have a report this month. as discussed, next work session, there will be a presentation in February on the strategic plan, healthy community goal, and from the student wellness and behavior team. So we'll be hearing from them in person with a report on our strat plan. So there will be a report next month. Business managers report. We did a lot of talk in our work session about the budget, revised budget, which hasn't really changed much. And where we're gonna have to deficit spend and where we're just gonna keep moving on with running the school, but.
Yep, so we're going to be presenting a balanced budget for you to approve tonight, and, so for the audience, this budget in January is a true-up budget, so we in June, we come up with the best projected, budget to operate on until our October count has come and been assessed by the state. And then all of our revenue numbers are pretty much dialed in by this time of the year. So then we need to true up that final budget to operate out of this fiscal year. So that's what we're doing tonight with you approving that budget. So we're building our budget this year on 173.1 students. That is an average of what our current student count was this year from October count, plus 3 additional, or 3 previous school year student counts, which allowed us to have a higher student count than we normally would have. I think we had 452 kids is what we would have been building our budget on, but we are building it on 471 or 73.1. So that was a significant help to us at this point. So, so with that being said, you know, we trued up all the salaries and some different expenditures and that type of thing throughout the budget from our June to our January. The main takeaway, I think, is that we are deficit spending around $300,000, which means we're dipping into our savings to balance the budget. Some of those expenditures, I believe Tim's gonna read the use of beginning fund balance resolution tonight, which will give a little more detail, but we had some technology expenses we need to purchase. We're purchasing a new Suburban since our Traverse was totaled.
Everybody's okay.
Yeah, everybody's okay. What else did we have? We were, the Frank ditch.
Yeah, some past projects with the Frank ditch and the audit.
Yep, and then the audit repayment of funding adjustments from the 4-year audit from 2017 to, what is that, 22, something like that, yeah. So that totaled up to about $300,000 that we will be deficit spending in the budget. So I think that's.
And I think, yeah, just for the audience or anybody that, we're truing that up on paper.
Yes.
This month, we look at the budget from now to the end of the year and are analyzing if there's areas that we can find savings, so that when we actually get to the final budget, that we maybe reduce that number potentially before it actually has to.
Yeah, on paper, it says 300,000, we're hoping it's significantly
Since
less.
it's a mid-year budget
Yeah,
revision.
because normally, typically every year when we do this, we don't ever spend every penny in our budget. There's always some that we do get to roll over, which is the only way that we build our reserves. So we should have some money there that will bring down that 300,000 spend, hopefully. But we won't know that until our audit is truly complete, which will be in August of in August of this year. But we'll get a good idea. We can get a projection of what that might be by the time, you know, we present you the June budget for 26, 27. So tonight there'll be 2 resolutions, one for use of beginning fund balance, and then the appropriation of all the expenditures out of all the funds that we have. So that will be, once you vote on that, that will be approving our budget for this evening to move forward with, so. I guess that's really it. Oh, there's also quarterly reports in there for second quarter and investment reports for you guys to look at. So if you have questions on those, let me know. But other than that, that was a quick summary, but.
I mean, just
Is there anything else?
huge accolades to Chrissy for the work that goes into the mid-year budget revisions of analyzing everything. And I mean, we had a great audit a few months ago, but the work that goes into it is extraordinary.
It sounds like, oh, there wasn't a lot of changes. There's a lot of work
A
that
lot
goes
of
into
analysis
it.
and just making sure we're
Well,
on
there's
track.
just the analysis
But-
behind not making those changes
Yeah.
is significant.
Takes time, it really does, but we got it dialed in and feel good about it, so. That's all I got.
Anybody have any further questions from anything that we discussed at the work session? None? Great. Then we'll go on to our superintendent report.
All right, well, I'm going to open it here. Even though we didn't have a strategic plan update, I like to present the superintendent report kind of through the lens of the strategic plan of our 3 goals around healthy community, engaging learning, and sustainable systems. And so what I've been doing for these reports, and I'm always taking feedback from the board and from any public people out there in the public of what's helpful within this report, but I'm really trying to give an overview of what's happening behind the scenes in service of our students and these goals. So a couple things that one thing I want to highlight was our professional development last Friday around building restorative and positive classrooms with students. And so we had another session with Generation Schools Networks. They've been working with us over the last few years on practices that really build community and build skills within our students to problem solve, advocate, and repair and restore when harm is done. So this was a great session around getting the rubber hitting the road on like how strategies to actually implement the things that we're hoping, the culture we want to build within the classroom. And so that happened for both our elementary and preschool staff and then our middle and high. So they had separate sessions, so they were really targeted. A couple other highlights is just around the community building going on with wellness, the things that are happening in PE in our elementary school. And so that's just a picture of just seeing something in practice of how PE and wellness and sport can be collaborative and fun and everyone contributes is through her laps challenge. I wanted to highlight that because if I just explain it, everybody is contributing to the overall success of the class, not just the kids who are running the most laps. And so it's done in a really fun way at the elementary school, and then she's got Wellness Week coming up, so that's happening at the elementary school. Our ESS program just got back last week from Purgatory with the Durango Adaptive Sports Association, so making sure that all of our students have access to the mountains and snow and building those skills. And just highlighting that winter sports are underway and our teams are driving all around the state. That's the only benefit of the lack of snow is we have not had, the transportation has been really easy for these teams that are traveling a lot. And so thank you to Lewis Horton and Destry Lockhart who are doing a lot of behind the scenes coordination for our sports all the years, but I wanted to make sure that that is highlighted. It's also a great community building event for our community, so coming out to our games and events, just encouraging folks to do that. On a cold winter night, if you're feeling a little lonely, come to a basketball game.
I'd like to recognize Lewis. He's not just doing the work during the day, he's driving the bus at night.
Yes,
He's doing it all.
that's right, he is doing it all. Mr. Horton is pretty amazing, and I know our students also see he's a really important person in their lives. Those are some things around building our community, around engaging learning. One thing that has begun is what we call leadership learning walks. So each week, myself, a school leader, and Adian, our district instructional coach and curriculum coordinator, are spending a few hours in each building. And the purpose of this is really around our growth and development, and also really understanding practice in the classroom. And so we're hitting anywhere from 3 to 5 classrooms and getting a chance to observe things happening, but also to be able to talk about what's really great that's happening in classrooms and calibrating how we would coach and support our educators in the best way possible. And it also helps us just to see alignment, which is one of our goals around curriculum and instructional alignment. So there's a little picture there of what's happening in early childhood, a discovery table. I think you saw it maybe mentioned in Mancus Matters, but one big highlight in our engaging learning is the annual science and engineering fair, led by Brady Archer, along with a bunch of teachers and community members that showed up to judge the event. We've got a number of students going on to the regional competition, but really great projects, and it was great to just see how the community came and engaged in kind of taking the time to look through those projects and what students are exploring. Great questions. If you're ever wondering about our future youth, they are very curious. We've got great questions. One other piece that's underway is that last Friday is that we held some mid-year data cycles with our teams, and from what I understand, this has been a practice that's been happening in some parts, but it hasn't happened on a regular basis, especially at the middle of the year. So as you know, we had a lot of assessments and things happening at the end of the semester where we're capturing where students are, kind of a summit of assessments, end of the semester, MAPS test, some end of unit exams, projects. We get a lot of information mid-year from students, and rather than marching on, this was a time for teachers to work with their teams and look at how students are doing, where they're doing really well, and where we need to adjust curriculum or instruction and address any gaps so that we're moving students in the right direction, and students are getting the supports they need as well. And so that's just a practice that we're working to put into place really regularly, not only kind of at the beginning, mid, and end of the year, but also just building that practice into instructional cycles. So that will happen over time, but I was really well received by teachers saying, hey, we want to do more of this. How do we get this time to look at how students are doing and make plans to continue to support them? And around cohesive systems, I think it's good to just pause and take and share what's happening with the the Oversight Committee. We've had two meetings that Chrissy has been instrumental in helping me lead, and the first meeting was really around understanding the purpose and coming together. In our last meeting, we started really digging into how different salary and wage schedules worked, and also where we are in comparison around the region and within the state. And so this next meeting, we will be looking at some different models to see how we can bring our salaries and wages closer to that market average as determined in the ballot, as it was named in the ballot language. And so what we've learned so far is that different categories of salaries are closer or further away from that market average, and so we're really looking at how we do that in a way that all of our staff see the benefits, get a bump based on that mill levy, and feel valued in their work through the changes that we are able to bring to you all in March with some options and drafts of ones that have been really vetted. And we've got a great team of former board members, community members, and teachers and staff members from all through the school. Would you add about the committee meetings at this point?
We have one Wednesday, and it's really gonna be where we're actually starting to plug in numbers,
Yeah.
which will be really great to start with. We've been just building our foundation thus far, so.
Everything can be found on the website under the Board of Education, mill levy. So we're trying to keep all that public. After Wednesday, we will be sending out things to the staff to get their feedback on. They have a person that there's representative on the committee, but we do want to make sure that we are putting things in front of the staff to get some early feedback on that. And it's not easy work, and I just really appreciate the committee who is just taking, coming to the table with such compassion and thoughtful discussion and analysis of our staff compensation model and how they can really make it be beneficial from everybody. So I just want to really appreciate the committee, because I think the work, even though we've got money to spend and get it out to staff, when you're actually sitting at the table, thinking about what you'll recommend and how that can be done well, it's not easy work, and I appreciate the committee for the way in which that they're coming to the table. A couple other things around our systems. One of the goals that the board asked me to really work on this year was our evaluation process and timeline, and making sure that that was fair and equitable and well communicated. And so we are now, mid-year conferences with staff are underway with a goal of finishing those up mid-February. And staff has all been made aware of them and the process, and really it's a conversation on what's going, a chance for them to talk about what's going well, their goals and area for growth, and how we can support them. And so those are happening between supervisors and staff. Certified staff members that are on an evaluation schedule this year are also doing that as a part of the state evaluation system, and that happens through the RANDA system. So those are underway. There's a lot to support that, and information that we've been sharing out with staff. One component of that in relation to the goal that we set this year is that when that's all done, we'll send out a short survey to all staff to ask them how that went for them. How did that feel? What went well? What would they want to shift or change about the process? Another big thing underway is the calendar committee, and so that's underway, and the committee met on Friday with teachers and staff. There's 2 drafts underway that we will be sharing out with the public and Make Us Matters on the 4th, I think. Alice Miller and Monica Ramirez are leading that committee, and so those will go out to get drafts, and that will come to the February 9th work session. I knew there was something that was coming to the February 9th work session that I didn't mention at our work session, but they'll be bringing some drafts. We're collaborating with the neighboring districts as best we can, and PCC in Fort Lewis, even though those, well, mostly with PCC because they're on different weeks, but we have more kids going to PCC. So community members, pay attention. That'll go out and Make Us Matters once or twice, but for sure on the 4th, and probably once again. We'll leave it out there to get any insight and feedback. We did already have a community survey, of which we got some initial feedback as well from community about what they like about current calendar and how we want to, how would they like us to improve it. We're working on a 2-year calendar, so we don't have to do this 2 years in a row. Thank you to Kira and Craig for spreading some cheer. We were able to pass out staff bonuses at the end of the week before break, so that was well received and a lot of fun. And that is the superintendent report. So does anyone have any questions or would like me to elaborate on anything? But a lot of good things happening, and really things are, in terms of my time here, things are now kind of heading into kind of more work projects than just figuring out what, learning, you know, a lot of learning in the first semester, and now we're digging into the action around that, while still learning.
I just want to pile on the science fair. I was blown away judging that, and I think I would encourage anyone, community, to come to that night when you have the opportunity. It is a time to see the whole student, which is hard to do otherwise.
That's right. And it really is a reflection of, you know, in that goal, and also in, you know, when you think about project-based learning, it's not, it's a science fair project, so it doesn't follow all the tenets of project-based learning, but it's all about student-led learning, because that is a student-generated questions, guided and supported by teachers, but it is impressive. Thank you.
All right, any other questions for our superintendent?
Okay, we're not doing any policy review this month. We're going to talk at our board retreat about how we're going to go about policy review and come up with a plan at that point in time when we have ample time to discuss and come up with a real workable plan, because policy review is very important. We need to keep on top of it, but that's what's going to be happening then. So on with the consent agenda, we have approval of minutes. We have no policy first or second review. We have the fund report, substitute salary schedule, and the January appropriations resolution. Is there a motion for consent?
We need to probably read that resolution.
Oh, yes, yeah, sorry. Down to 9F, down to the substitute salary schedule, I'm sorry.
So I move that we have consent agenda for 9A, 9D, and 9F.
Is there a second?
Second.
Kara seconds. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda? Would you call the question, please, Janet?
Tim Hunter,
Aye.
Craig Benelli.
Aye.
Rachel McWhorter,
Aye.
Craig McClure,
Aye.
Kira Taylor.
Aye.
Okay,
Now,
Rachel, you have the appropriations resolution to read?
leaves up. All right. Do I have to motion or just be it resolved?
You make a motion that be it resolved.
Okay. I move that be it resolved by the Board of Education of Mankato School District RE6 in Montezuma County that the amounts shown in the following schedule be appropriated to each fund as specified in the January budget for the ensuing fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026. General Fund, $10,453,833.88. I need to break out the expenditures and revenue reserves. Of that, $8,077,290.59 of expenditures, $2,376,543.29 of reserves. The preschool fund, we have $450,477.81, $440,477.81 of expenditures, $10,000 in reserves. For this food service fund, we have $410,914.13. Of that, $362,914.13 is expenditures, $48,000 is reserves. The bond redemption fund is $903,334.09. Of that, $342,076.55 is expenditures, $561,257.54 is reserves. The capital reserves project, we have $256,783.94. Of that, $180,069.94 is expenditures, $76,714 is reserves. And the pupil activity fund, $315,680. Of that, $200,000 is expenditures and $115,680 is reserves. The total appropriation is $12,791,023.85.
All right, there's a resolution as a motion. Is there a second to approve?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the? All right, we've had a lot of discussion. Call the question, please, Janet.
Tim Hunter,
Aye.
Craig Benelli.
Aye.
Rachel McWhorter,
Aye.
Craig McClure,
Aye.
Kira Taylor.
Aye.
And the motion carries unanimously. The Board of Trustees of the Mancos Library, in accordance with the 1986 resolution establishing the Mancos Library District, says that the Board of the Mancos School Board needs to approve of their recommendations for library trustees. The library board has gone through the they're giving a formal recommendation to have Janice Archuleta and Sarah Carr join the library board, and this board needs to vote if that is an appropriate thing. So if there was, we could have a motion to approve those trustees and recommend to the library board that they accept these folks as trustees.
I'll make a motion to approve Janice Archuleta and Sarah Carr on the Mancos Library Board.
Second. We have a motion, a second. Any discussion on the approval? Call the question, please, Janet.
Tim Hunter.
Aye.
Craig Benelli.
Aye.
Rachel McWhorter.
Aye.
Craig McClure.
Aye.
Kira Taylor.
Aye.
Okay, so,
Nope, that's what I had. Here's the other guy.
oh, yeah, this is mine right here. So we have a resolution authorizing the use of a portion of the beginning fund balance as authorized by the Colorado statutes. Whereas Colorado Revised Statutes 2244-105 states that a budget duly appointed pursuant to this article shall not provide for expenditures, interfund transfers, or reserves in excess of available revenues and beginning fund balance. Whereas the Board of Education may authorize the use of a portion of the beginning fund balance in the budget, stating the amount to be used, the purpose for which the expenditure is needed, and the district's plan to ensure that the use of the beginning fund balance will not lead to an ongoing deficit. And whereas the Board of Education has determined the beginning fund balance is sufficient to allow for the one-time expenditure, and the action will not lead to an ongoing deficit. Now therefore be it resolved, in accordance with Colorado Revised Statutes 2244-105, the Board of Education authorizes the use of a portion of fiscal year 26 beginning fund balance from the following funds. General fund for $305,920.71. Of this amount, $186.18 in unspent Reed grant funds collected in fiscal year 25. $20,000 partial repayment for CDE for funds and adjustments for audit years 2017-18, 18-19, 19-20, 20 and 21 October count membership. $39,698.84 for iReady math curriculum for the elementary school. $186,464.94 to the Capital Reserve Fund. $59,570.75 into technology. To the preschool fund for $8,314, which will be used for professional development and supplies. To the food service fund for $30,000, which will be used for food costs. Be it further resolved, the use of this portion of the beginning fund balance in the general fund for the purposes set forth above will not lead to an ongoing deficit and will not need to be corrected in future years.
I second.
Is there any questions, comments, discussions on the resolution? Yes, sir.
I'd just like to ask for clarity, the 59,570.75 in technology, that is for the to cover withdrawn grant funding? Okay, thank you.
Yes, we did get it. We did get a grant. We spent the money, and then the grant was pulled away from us. So now we're on the hook for that money. Any other discussion? We'll call for the question, please.
Tim Hunter.
Aye.
Craig Benelli.
Aye.
Rachel McWhorter.
Aye.
Craig McClure.
Aye.
Kara Taylor.
Aye.
And that resolution passes unanimously. So, I think we've talked about upcoming calendar obligations.
Yep, I do want to mention a few things just for everyone, that this week, on the Thursday, and these are obligations, these are opportunities, not obligations. The Wizard of Oz is
Oh, yeah.
being presented by many of our students, and I think this is also in partnership with SCYC and our Performing Arts Department.
And that's a shadow puppet
It's
presentation.
the Wizard of Oz by Shadow Puppet?
By Shadow
Yeah,
Puppets,
that's
I'm
very
hearing,
cool.
and so you're not gonna wanna miss that. It's at 6:30 on both Thursday and Friday night at the Opera House. Another exciting thing happening on, I'm pretty sure Friday evening, right, Janet, is that our high school engineering class
Yes.
is going to be driving their float in the Snowdown Parade that they
Parade,
have
yeah.
designed 100% by students and built. And so if anyone is going to be in Durango, they're gonna wanna go to that. There's a bunch of basketball happening all weekend, as well as the Knowledge Bowl regionals in Durango on Saturday. Wrestling as well, so this is a fun-filled week of action for our students and staff. So those are those things that are happening in the next week.
Audrey, I might have misunderstood what I read earlier. I thought the float was, like a dry run in town before they go to Snowdown.
We will be doing that as well
Okay.
Thursday night.
Oh.
We're gonna do
Okay,
a
so it can be
quick
seen on
dry
Thursday.
run,
Oh, yeah,
and it
so,
will,
okay.
it'll just kind of be over in this area.
Yeah, if you
Just
ha- yeah,
try
so
to
I
get
guess
all
if
the
you're-
working pieces going.
Yes, no, dry run, and then the full event. And then next week, I think, is our first PTA movie night. The PTA is working at the Mancus Opera House, so pay attention for that. Lots of great things happening over the next 2 weeks in our community. Anything else I'm missing? I think I said basketball. Basketball's got like 6 games right here. You can find that website on, the calendar is on the website. Community, if you're out there, check it out. It's great way to get out of the house.
Okay. We'd already discussed future agenda items. Anybody after the meeting hear anything else that we should be adding to our future agenda? Are there any special recognitions that the board should give out in a written form? Okay,
I'd just like to verbally, I didn't shout it out at the beginning, to thank Casey and the entire food service team.
oh man,
And for this
what a great dinner
amazing
they
dinner
provided for us.
tonight
Really
with chicken
good.
and all of that, so.
We want the
everybody that-
brownie recipe.
The brownie recipe, Casey, if you happen to be listening, we need the brownie recipe, so I wanted to make sure I said that as well, so thank you to them.
Okay, I guess all that's left is our regular board debrief. Kira, you wanna do our board debrief tonight? Pick a couple of questions and ask a person or two?
Sure. Do I direct it at a specific person or?
Sure.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm gonna put you all on the spot. Were you able to communicate and be understood on all topics? Craig McClure.
Way to clarify that. Thought I could just duck and hope he'd answer. Absolutely, absolutely.
You were.
Yep.
Did you learn anything new tonight, Rachel?
Yes, again, a shout out for our mid-year, graduates. That's not something that we've ever really talked about before, so that was really cool that we got to name them and recognize that they have already graduated, and that they are definitely welcome to come back and join us for the walk in May for graduation. That was cool.
Are there any decisions made by the board at this meeting that needs to be communicated to the public? Craig Bell.
I don't think so. I think we're just on the right track with all of our updates, so.
And all the financial stuff will be on the website.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, cause that
And the
was.
financial transparency, yeah.
Yeah.
Now that we've approved, I'll try to get up tomorrow.
Okay,
That's all I got.
okay. Any other questions, any other comments before we adjourn? All right, I'll call this meeting adjourned.